For the first time in 7 years, neither of the division stalwarts Pittsburgh Steelers or Baltimore Ravens finished first in the AFC North. For the first time since 1989, the Cincinnati Bengals represented the AFC in the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens look to return to health while he pursues a contract extension. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns turned over the keys to the franchise to the now controversial Deshaun Watson, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will have someone other than Ben Roethlisberger under center for the first time in 18 years. The AFC North is a division in flux. Finishing at 10-7, Bengals head coach Zach Taylor proved his mettle after winning 6 games in his previous 2 seasons. Despite an early trepidation after returning from 2020 ACL surgery, Joe Burrow led the Bengals to the top of the AFC North. Despite being sacked a league-worst 51 times, he won Comeback Player of the Year and threw for 4,600 yards. With receiving weapons such as Jamar Chase and T. Higgins combining for 2,500 yards and 20 touchdowns, and workhorse running back Joe Mixon rushing for 1,200 yards, the primary question offensively appears to be the same offensive line that Burrow relies on. Signing former Cowboys tackle La'el Collins as the new bodyguard for Burrow along with guards Alex Kappa and former Patriots center Ted Karras being added to incumbent left tackle Jonah Williams, the hope is that this will be the final key in solidifying their last remaining weakness. Defensively, Trey Hendrickson finished third in the AFC with 14 sacks, anchoring the pass rush. Linebacker Logan Wilson was the captain of the front 7, leading Cincinnati in both tackles and interceptions. The Bengals' secondary remained solid, returning safeties Jesse Bates and Von Bell, along with corner Chido Awuzie. They also added Nebraska corner Kim Taylor-Britt in the draft, and on special teams kicker Evan McPherson had a fantastic rookie season, winning 5 games off of last-second kicks, including the one that got the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Health permitting, my prediction is a first-place finish for the Bengals at 11-6. If any team can challenge the Bengals for divisional supremacy, it's a healthy Baltimore Ravens team. Despite an injury-riddled 2021 season, the Ravens had a solid offseason and an even better draft. Adding Saints safety Marcus Williams in free agency, and perhaps the best overall safety in the draft in Kyle Hamilton, the Ravens helped fortify a defense that finished last against the pass in the entire league, but first against the run. If Baltimore wants to compete with Cincinnati, they need to add a pass rush to go along with veteran elite run stopper Calais Campbell. Coach John Harbaugh is looking to tweak a run-heavy offense that finished third in the league behind the trio of Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, and a recovering J.K. Dobbins. First-round center Tyler Linderbaum will be the new anchor of the offensive line that will spearhead the rushing attack, but the team failed to add receiver depth after trading away Marquise Brown to the Arizona Cardinals. Outside of All-Pro tight end Mark Andrews, who finished with 107 catches for 1,300 yards, there is plenty of uncertainty with the Ravens' passing game. They're hoping Rashad Bateman and Devin Duvernay can complement Andrews and give the Ravens the downfield threat the offense lacks. From a special team standpoint, the Ravens still have perhaps the best kicker in football in Justin Tucker. Overall, the prediction for the Ravens is a 9-8 record, second in the division. Despite massive questions surrounding the probable lengthy suspension of the newly acquired Deshaun Watson and the Baker Mayfield trade, the Cleveland Browns bring back an overall solid roster on both sides of the ball. Coach Kevin Stefanski will continue to call plays regardless of whether Watson faces his inevitable suspension. Like Baltimore, the Cleveland Browns' offensive identity has been tied to their potent rushing attack. Nick Chubb has been the main attraction of the Browns' offense, rushing for over 1,200 yards in 14 games. As the other half of their 1-2 punch, Kareem Hunt hopes to put last year's injury problems behind him after missing half the 2021 season. The Amari Cooper trade gives the Browns a number 1 receiver along with tight end David Njoku and third-round pick David Bell of Purdue, who was drafted to help fill the void left by the departure of fan favorite Jarvis Landry. With a strong offensive line ushering the running attack, the pressure is on this receiving core to provide balance to their established running identity. Going into his 7th season, defensive end Myles Garrett continues to be perhaps the best pure defensive end in football, finishing with 16 sacks. With Jadeveon Clowney returning on the other side, the Browns boast perhaps the most athletic defensive end tandem in the league. With a secondary led by corner Denzel Ward and Ronnie Harrison, the Browns' defense will certainly not be the side of the ball with the most questions. The prediction for them may vary based on the status of Watson, and a trade for a certain San Francisco quarterback may change this, but for now a 7-10 record and a third-place finish is a respectable space for a team that is well coached and solid on both the offensive and defensive lines. While Mike Tomlin continues to be an elite coach, the Pittsburgh Steelers will have a rough time staying above the 500 mark this upcoming season. With questions surrounding a changing of the guard at quarterback, the most storied franchise in this division must rely on second-year running back Najee Harris and returning receivers Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. Defensively, All-Pro linebacker T.J. Watt brings his 22.5 sacks and will be complemented by fellow All-Pro defensive end Cam Hayward, who finished with 89 tackles and 10 sacks of his own. With new addition Miles Jack being added to the linebacking core and Minkah Fitzpatrick returning to lead the secondary, the Steelers will look to improve upon a 24th-ranked defense. The pivot point for this Steelers team will hinge on whether Mitch Trubisky or rookie Kenny Pickett lines up behind center and how well he plays. The prediction is a 6-11 finish for a team that will be competitive most games, and it wouldn't surprise me if overachieving quarterback play brings them even further. Overall, the Bengals look to be the class of the division and hope to build upon their Super Bowl appearance last season. The AFC North will have many storylines to watch all season long.